Welcome to our deep dive. Today we're looking into a really fascinating and frankly quite concerning story out of Uruguay.
Yeah, it's all about cybersecurity, the justice system, and how they sometimes collide messily with new tech.
Exactly. Our main source is the book Log into Hell by Alberto the guy who lived through it. Plus, we've got commentary around his case.
And his experience is, well, it's a potent look at what happens when technology races ahead of the law.
So our mission here is to pull out the core story, the tricky points, the bits that make you go, and figure out what we can learn from this hacker's journey.
A journey that seems relevant way beyond just Uruguay, I think.
Okay, let's unpack it. The central figure is Alberto Hill. Sources describe him as a skilled hacker in Uruguay, but one who reportedly used his abilities for good, you know?
Right, an ethical hacker type, maybe?
Seems like it. And the key moment, the thing that changed everything according to his account, was back in 2014.
He found a security flaw, a vulnerability, in a medical website.
And he reported it. Standard procedure, you'd think.
But that's where it goes sideways. Instead of getting a thank you or, maybe a bug bounty.
He got arrested.
Exactly. Arrested and then convicted, he maintains, wrongly, for a computer crime.
Making him the first person ever imprisoned for a computer crime in Uruguay. That's...
Wow.
Yeah. And the personal fallout described in the sources is just immense.
Losing his job, facing serious money problems, his relationship ended.
And dealing with PTSD and depression from the whole ordeal, you can imagine.
Absolutely brutal.
So the book, Log into Hell, it makes some very strong claims. It's not just saying mistakes were made.
What's the core allegation?
It alleges things like police misconduct, abuse of power, even human rights violations. A fundamental failure, basically, of the justice system to give him a fair trial, especially with this new kind of tech crime.
And there are these really specific, intriguing points raised, too.
Like the timing of his arrest.
Right. The book points out it happened the very same day Uruguay's vice president resigned. And it asks, was that just a coincidence? Or perhaps was his case maybe used as a sort of media distraction?
That's a heavy implication.
It is. And there's another detail mentioned, an alleged security incident that wasn't widely reported.
What was that?
Police systems themselves supposedly being taken down by supporters, people acting in solidarity with Hill. If that's true, it shows how these things can spill over.
Now, other discussions around the case add some context, right?
Yeah, commentators suggest that maybe back then the Uruguayan police and courts were, well, technologically behind.
So they might have misinterpreted things?
Possibly. Like seeing standard cybersecurity tools, stuff a professional would just have as evidence of intent to commit a crime, or even expired credit card data on a computer.
Things that might look suspicious if you don't understand the context.
Precisely. And there's also talk about the pressure he was under.
Like maybe he admitted guilt?
There's discussion around the possibility he admitted something, perhaps under duress, maybe involving threats or perceived threats concerning his family or girlfriend. Serious stuff raised in the sources.
So after all this, what happened legally?
Well, the sources say it took 4 years, a long legal battle, but in the end, he actually wound up without a criminal record.
But the impact was still profound, obviously.
Absolutely. And his goal now, apparently, is to use his story, use the book, to push for change.
Change where?
Within the police and justice system in Uruguay, to help them understand cyber issues better, handle these cases more fairly, and just generally improve cybersecurity awareness there.
And the book itself had an interesting launch.
Oh, yeah, the publishing model. It was this hybrid thing, NFTs mixed with traditional publishing for early access.
NFTs, like digital collectibles.
Kind of. It included digital and physical copies, plus access to discussions with him. The sources suggest it was also him exploring ways for creators to maybe get a better deal,
Interesting. And now his focus is?
Blockchain, cryptocurrencies, maybe not surprising, given his background and experience with digital systems and perhaps a desire for more transparent ones.
So wrapping this up, what's the big takeaway for you listening?
I mean, this deep dive into Alberto Hill's story, as the sources tell it, it's a stark reminder. It shows what can happen when technology, misunderstanding, and maybe systemic issues collide.
And someone pays a really high personal price.
Exactly. It forces us to ask tough questions. How are legal systems everywhere keeping up with tech? How should we treat ethical hackers who find flaws?
Are the old frameworks fit for the digital age?
That's the core question, isn't it? Can systems built for the physical world handle digital complexity? And what happens to real people when those systems fall short? Something to think about.